Jeez. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna give it till 7:31. A lot of people popping on. Oh my goodness. I also had a side sister that wanted to see Jill. So let's see, I gotta text her quick. Crud. I could send it to Jessica.
Alexa, turn off the corner lamp.
Well, that's too cool. Who said that? Joanne, was that you? Alexa, do my taxes. Come on, Jill, that was funny. Hey, Ellen. Hi, Jen. Hey, Mel. Well, I am super excited. Can you guys all hear me? Thumbs up that you can hear me okay? Okay, awesome. I did a live in Team Joyful and I was going on and on and on. And I sent it and then everyone commented, Lori, we didn't hear a word you said. So I deleted that whole thing. So that was the best I could do. All right, well, this is being recorded. So, okay, this girl wants to hop on. Let's see. Jill, I have a girl that's not on my team. She's a leader though, and she wants to be on. So hang on one second. Let me just get this over to her if I can do this. See. Meetings. Okay, cool. All right, put her on there. Okay, so let's get started. Hey, welcome everybody. This is our regional meeting. Thinking excited to see everybody. It's been such a while since we've gotten together. I look forward to when we do get together in person for probably our next one in the first quarter of 2022, which sounds crazy that we'll be saying that. If you're new to Color Street and to Joyful Teams, welcome everybody. My name is Lori Cantor, Senior Executive Director, and I'm just really, again, excited to be here. We, again, are truly blessed to have Jill Wenz with us tonight. She was with us last year and gave us a plethora of knowledge and tried to help us with any questions that we had, because sometimes they can be so broad and she'll kind of narrow it down for you. I also have, I'll show you a book she's recommended. Jill, I'm going to ask you a little bit about that book as well. And at the end of her time, we have 30 minutes with her. Then we have a couple of Q&A. So write down any questions you might have. It doesn't matter truly. I mean, she'll tell me whether or not it matters the state or not, but I know Canada is on here too. So if you are in Canada, just let Jill know that, because she'll just best say, I don't know what she'll say, actually. I'll let her go. So Jill, let me introduce you. Jill is my accountant, I will say that. And I'm super excited to share this time with her. So Jill, take it away.
Hi, everybody. My specialty is taxes. I deal with a lot of small business and startups. I have a bachelor's in accounting from Kutztown University in Pennsylvania and a master's in taxation from Villanova, also in Pennsylvania. So I don't know where all you are coming from, but I'm a mom of 5 kids. They're all grown up though, so it's kind of boring now waiting for the grandkids to happen. So got a wedding next year, so we'll see. But so that's a little bit about me. Not sure what your question, if you had specific questions, or Lori, how you wanted to run the meeting exactly.
Well, that's up to you. Do you want me to ask? I can probably ask some of the questions that the girls have already, not tonight, not anytime locally, but some of the questions that I get. And I know for myself, some questions that I have, and I'm sure if I'm thinking it, they are, that's fine, Jill. I could do it that way as well. Or if, Yeah, so let me lead that way, okay? This will help the meeting to go kind of, in some kind of manner. So let's start off with, you said that you're a small business. You have a lot of people with startups and small business and direct sales. I think you look at my business that way. And but direct sales is a different animal. And you've dealt with many direct sales companies now, especially as some of the girls on the team are your clients. So could you give the girls on the team, they come everywhere from California down to South Carolina to Texas, all the way up to, actually we're in Alberta or in Saskatoon and everything. So we're now international. I know that you might not be able to speak too much to Canada, to the Canadians, but there's still a place of organization, I imagine. So what's your best, how about your best 5 tips to being ready for their tax accountant, whether it be you or theirs?
So, organization is definitely key. You want to have good records as far as your income and all of your expenses. So, sorry, somebody asking something?
No, it's probably someone's not muted, so.
Oh, okay. So whether, it depends on the volume of transactions. I like to use QuickBooks. But if you have very low volume of transactions, you could probably get away with like an Excel spreadsheet, or you could have some handwritten things. What your accountant won't want is a box of receipts. Don't do that to them, please.
Where's my box? I know I've got one here for Jill.
No. So usually, so usually if people have handwritten or receipts, I would ask them respectfully, could you please add them up by category? Here's an idea of the different expense categories and so on and so forth. But, the tax person isn't going to be, wanting to add all that stuff up typically during tax season.
What kind of expense categories are there, Jill? What would they be looking at for expense categories?
So, typically, so for direct sales, you figure you're going to have your advertising. You will have office supplies, postage and delivery. You're going to have, your actual items that you're reselling, your cost of goods sold, your items for resale. You may have some meals, if you take people out for lunch or coffee in the course of your business. Gifts, if you're giving gifts. And then a big one that people tend to overlook is their mileage. So, if you're running back and forth to the post office or supply stores or your accountant or the bank, you can there's a lot of free or low cost mileage tracker apps you can get on your phone that are really, really helpful. And then the other thing that people overlook if they're running their business from their home is home office expenses. So a home office, go ahead.
Exactly, you were going there, go ahead.
Okay, so there's 2 ways to calculate a home office expense. The area is supposed to be used exclusively for business. So if you don't have a whole room you're using for business, but an area of a room, you could kind of calculate that square footage. And the simple way is you just get $5 per square foot. The more complicated way, but it usually results in higher deduction, is you would take the full square footage of your entire home or apartment, and you wouldn't have to do the math, the accountant would, but they would basically look at that ratio. So say, you have a 100 square foot office, 1,000 square foot home, that's 10%. They would take 10% of your rent or mortgage interest, property taxes, your utilities, and things like that in order to calculate the amount that you're allowed for your home office deduction.
Okay, one of the girls are asking, do the sets that we personally use get counted? The ones that we, use on our own nails for advertising? It's a write-off, I believe, but you tell me, you're the boss.
So at wholesale, at your cost, you wouldn't be able to write it up.
No.
Right.
Okay, so you're saying that if we get a 25% discount, then they cost $10 and it would be $8.75, like something like that. We pay whatever we pay for costs, right?
The cost, yeah, yeah.
And are we allowed to write shipping costs off and tax?
Yeah, anything that for the cost of, getting the product or getting it to you.
And what might seem simple to you, though, some of the girls just they don't realize it. Jill, that's why this is a really exciting time for us. We're really hungry for knowledge here. So I know because you do it all the time. Like this seems like, yeah,
Right.
of course, but yeah. And mileage is a big one. So and I know
Mileage
that
is huge.
they can go back into your calendar. So girls, here's a tip, because you're talking to Jill will probably attest that she'll tell you I am the perfect candidate for this, that go back to your calendar. And if you have like, where you are weekly, like if you went to the post office every Thursday and you didn't write down your mileage, just track it. You can do it on directions and it'll tell you how many miles it is. And then you can use that as long as you have it documented. Is that correct, Jill?
Yeah. So the IRS, if you would ever get audited, they want to see a contemporaneous log, which means you've kept it, you haven't recreated it later. Well, I mean, if you have to recreate this year, that's fine. But if you have like an app on your phone, that's going to just be, you're going to exceed your burden of proof with the IRS if they would audit your miles. But what I used to do before I had a mileage app, because I'm older than I look, I would I'd keep a calendar and
Okay.
my planner, and I'd have everywhere I drove. And then later in the week, I'd go back on Google Maps and recreate, like figure out how far I went. But that took a lot of time. So the app has made life easier because it tracks every time you're driving somewhere. And then you just go in once in a while and swipe personal, business, and it makes it easier.
One of the questions is, what's the mileage app? I use before, Jill, I'm not connected yet anyway, for the basic, when I first came in, Jill recommended, I use Quicken Books, just the basic one. For all the ones that if you don't have a bigger business yet, then you can use Quicken Books. And what Jill's talking about, it'll say, you can swipe personal or you can swipe, business, which I really loved. And it really streamlines it. It's a habit. You do have to get in the habit, but even if you didn't do it for like 3 days, you can go back in there and swipe, which way it goes.
Yeah, it's called QuickBooks Self-Employed. And I think it's if you have a QuickBooks subscription, it's free, but I think if you get it standalone, it's like $5 a month.
And is that $5 a write-off?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yep. So some other things that people don't realize is, you have your phone, your personal phone. You're probably using that a lot for business. So a percentage of that, and you just have to be reasonable, because you're using it for both. Unless you have a dedicated business line, you're like, most of us are using it for both. So, you just come up with what you think a reasonable percentage is for business use. Whether, if you're only doing this a little bit on the side, maybe it's 25%. If you're doing this, it's your full-time gig, maybe it's 75, 90%. So as long as you're being reasonable. And then I do the same thing with the home internet. I don't bunch it in with home office expenses. I tend to allocate, a greater percentage of internet to the business, because you're on there selling. I mean, you're using it pretty hard. So
yeah, especially with us being social media now, right? We're all online pretty much so. Jess asked this question, I answered it, but I'd rather have you say if I'm correct or not. Fees for the website, like, are $9.95, or we have another app we use, it's called Yumihu, $9, and then Square, all those bank fees, are they a write-off?
Yes, definitely. I was actually going to go there next. Yeah, so those are like your dues and subscriptions, any kind of membership fees you have. So basically, if you go through and think about all the costs you are incurring that are related to this business, it would be expenses for this business.
If we get a mani and a pedi, is that a write-off?
No,
No, even though we show nails and pedicures?
if you go to like a salon and get it done,
Yeah,
you
because we
wouldn't be-
clean up, we have to clean up our hands and our feet. I'm seriously just asking. I'm not sure. Our hands and our feet, we wouldn't be able to do that because we specifically only sell nails? No?
you wouldn't be able to.
Interesting. Because and Jill's conservative, guys, because I will tell you that she would rather you save yourself for the expense of maybe $30 compared to having an audit. Correct, Jill?
Yeah, I had a flight attendant once who, you know, for the airline, her hair had to be a certain way, her nails had to be done. You know, and it was in her employee handbook and she was audited and it was all turned down.
Yep.
It was all
Okay.
denied.
There's a question here. It says Sharon's asking, she says, I'm not sure if this is in your league, Jill, but regarding losses, is it bad if we end up in a loss in the terms of getting a mortgage?
So lending, yeah. So that's this thing with self-employed, you know, it's like you show a profit and you owe all these taxes, you show a loss, you can't get a loan, you know, you're kind of in this catch-20. I mean, it's not bad necessarily. A lot of the direct sales, you know, people do it as a side gig. So the mortgage companies aren't necessarily, you know, going to be surprised by some losses.
Okay.
Especially if it's the first year or two.
I will say that Jill last year, she made a really positive comment that stayed with me, being that, you know, I've been in direct sales for 22 years. And Jill was really happy to see with Color Street how they don't require an inventory. Am I right, Jill? Am I remember that correctly? You actually like the model that we weren't in debt for this company?
Yeah.
So that was a positive. Okay, Lori says, my mortgage, they didn't even want to see my Color Street numbers unless I was making a large sum.
Yeah, because it's like, I mean, direct sales, you know, like these companies have all been out there, you know, for eons, but not only direct sales, but just having a side gig has become extremely popular. It's unbelievable, you know, how many people are doing Uber or, you know, any kind of these little side hustles. So, you know, especially with COVID and, you know, trying to raise kids and trying to work from home and, you know, you're just trying to squeeze in however you can earn money wherever.
All right, so I'm going to give you a little plug here. Is it true? I think I just heard this in Profit First, was that you're less likely to be audited if you are if you have an accountant, a certified accountant doing your taxes. True or false?
I don't think that's true necessarily. I mean, I think so. An accountant is going to be more aware of, you know, red flags and what you can and can't do. So maybe they say that because maybe the average person makes a lot of mistakes that the IRS would pick up on. But, you know, as far as whether it's, I mean, if it's prepared correctly, whether it's by yourself or by an accountant, it should be at the same level of risk.
Okay. Sharon asked, it says, my accountant also is asking me if I want to be a hobbyist or make it a larger business, but even a year in, not sure which way it's going. That's how I was too. Remember, Jill? So what say you?
Yeah. So, I mean, I wouldn't consider, so the way the IRS looks at things is, you know, any accession to wealth is taxable. So if you're making money at a hobby, they're going to tax it. If it's a hobby though, you're not allowed to take losses. So maybe that's why they're asking that. I mean, I wouldn't think the biggest indicator of whether you're in a business or a hobby is the desire to make a profit. You know, what you guys are doing, there's no way it would be seen as a hobby. It's not like you're making crafts and selling them or, you know, sport fishing or, you know, and trying to win fees. You're selling a product, you're like buying and reselling. So I would never consider that a hobby.
Good point.
But I mean, the other thing, so you don't want to be a hobby because you can't take losses. But the other thing would be, what I look at as far as whether to remain a sole proprietor or whether to be treated as an LLC or an S corporation is the level of profit. So once your profitability is between like 60 to 80,000 after all your expenses, then we want to talk about treating the business differently and trying to take advantage of some tax savings that's available.
Is that a big reason why people get involved in, do you see across, like you see the big picture? Is there a tax savings compared to, I guess that's kind of an individual question depending on where their income level is. So I guess I retract that question because it all depends. I mean, I know why the ladies on this team start Color Street. For most of them, even if they're hobbyists, they are enjoying the benefits of a discount. And when do they have to? There's a good question. When do they need to file a tax return if they are, say, if they are a hobbyist and they're only here for the discount, Jill?
Well, so the IRS is going to require more and more companies to issue 1099-Ks for online sales. So even if you're just buying for yourself, if you exceed this much lower threshold, it used to be $10,000, now it's going to be $600. You might end up having to file a business return whether you wanted to or not, because you might be on the IRS's radar with the new reporting requirements that they go into effect next year. So we wouldn't have to worry about 2021, but 2022, there's a much lower threshold for reporting requirements.
In our company, we get a 1099 if you make a profit of 600 or more.
You do,
right?
Okay.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We do get one. So if we get one, we need to do a Schedule C then?
Yeah, because if you don't do a Schedule C, what the IRS is going to do is they're going to say, well, we see this 1099, you made, say, $5,000, you now owe us tax on $5,000. They don't take into account any of your expenses. So you want to be ahead of the IRS and actually file the Schedule C and file all your expenses, because maybe that 5,000 is really only 500 after, your cost of goods sold, because they're just looking at that top retail number. That's not what you made. So
right. That's a good point. So don't be afraid of that. Just say, let's get our, like you said in the beginning of this conversation, get all your expenses down and probably bring it down to like $1,000. Let's just hypothetically. All right, another question Lori has is for Lori DiBerdinis. Do you know if we are going to be getting a 1099 for Venmo, PayPal? I just started using Clover, Jill, with PNC. So how does that work?
So I know Venmo, PayPal, and a bunch of other smaller ones that never sent the 1099s before. They've been pushing everyone to do a business sign up and whatever, because they're trying to get themselves ready to be compliant for this new law that goes into effect next year. So you probably will not get one for 2021, but you will next year.
So we would get so that would kind of be like, wouldn't it be kind of, and just asking you, I don't know, this is new to me here. I understand now when the girls, when I use my Venmo, it'll say to my customer, is this a business purchase? You can get protected if you say business. And I say to them, don't do that. You don't need to do that. But is that legally, should I not be saying that? And then also, would Venmo be hitting me as well as my company hitting me?
Yeah, you're going to get 1099s from all over the place with the new reporting requirements, and it's going to be difficult because there might be some duplication. Like, if you're getting a 1099 from your company and from Venmo, and it was really for the same set of sales, we're just going to have to document it
and separate
really well.
it.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's interesting. Are we legally correct if we say you don't need to say it was a business transaction?
So that business protection, I thought they charged an extra fee for that to the vendor.
They do, 1.9.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know why you would want to pay the extra fee. I don't know what it's protecting. So I would say, no, don't check that. It's almost like they're buying some kind of like purchase insurance or something. I mean, regardless, they're going to know it's business. Because Venmo's been up in everyone's business, trying to get their EINs and everything else.
Well, PayPal did that from the start. So now Venmo is part of PayPal, right? And they're just doing that the same way.
Exactly. Yeah. Like even the vendor we use to collect rents for our rental properties is insisting, we have to report this or we're not going to release any funds to you. We need this information by the end of the year. So you're going to see a lot of that through all the different processors now.
Okay. All right. We'll keep. So Sharon asked this question. I'm going to ask it exactly how she does. Maybe you'll understand it. Will Venmo send them for personal accounts also? No. I say no. What do you say?
No, I wouldn't think so. I just don't know how Venmo is going to know that, who is a business and who isn't.
I'm thinking it's that one question that they ask. I'm not sure that either though. And we'll find out next year, right?
Yeah. I mean, they even want to, it hasn't passed yet, but they even want to place a threshold on banks where if you have more than so much money going in and out of your accounts every year, that will be reported.
All right, Lori has a verbal question.
Is it going to become a mess? Like, if this is on what you just spoke to, with the way that, so we buy inventory, we have inventory, or we get them for free and then we sell them. So if I'm buying, like, say the Christmas sets, I bought all the Christmas sets because I needed them before I cashed out a party. So I paid for them all and then I resell them. So I'm already paying tax and shipping coming from the company. The company recognizes that as a 25% or whatever percent I'm at this point in the month, profit for me. But then if I'm selling them and someone's paying me through Venmo or PayPal and I get a 1090, like I'm going to get a 1099 from both companies.
From
I
both.
know that already.
Yeah.
So technically it's a 1099 on something that I'm already getting a 1099 on. Like, how are they going to work that?
I'm not sure how they're going to work it. I've run into it even before they lowered this standard. I ran into this with a couple other people in the past, and we just documented it really well. And we're just hoping that, if it would be audited, that they'll accept our documentation. I mean, the IRS isn't totally unreasonable. If you've done a good job of explaining and documenting and everything, they'll accept your information as long as there's nothing apparently wrong. Like, if you're driving an expensive car and like a really expensive car and you live in a big, beautiful house and you have nice new clothes and you say you make $20,000 a year for the last 10 years, they might question you, because they can see that that's not right. Just run it like a business, the more you make, the more you'd be open to scrutiny. So if you're doing like QuickBooks and you're tracking things and everything, and then there's a discrepancy with the 1099, it's more, it's easier to show and explain, hey, here's my books. I'm being totally transparent. I did not make that much money. So.
Okay. Well, Jill, Laura, does that answer your question?
I think so. I think to the best of Jill's ability, it does. I think it's going to be a mess when we get 12 1099s for the same things over and over again. But I think that it comes down to what she's saying, and I'm going to have to keep better logs of what's going in and out. I already got yelled at last year because I didn't have a QuickBooks account. So I'm going to have to spend most of my January putting my QuickBooks together for 2021 for my accountant. But I think that's what it's going to come down to, just more in and out transactions of exactly what's coming in and out versus just like generic numbers that I've been giving him.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jill.
And if you, one way to make it easier, a lot easier, is if you just have one business account and only business income goes in there and only business expenses goes out, except for, obviously you're going to take some of the profits out for yourself, but just make a transfer or make a check to yourself for that lump sum amount. And everything else that's flowing is all business.
So you can connect your, Lori, you can connect your Venmo to QuickBooks. And I will give, we're on 30 minutes almost right now. I'll give Jill a plug is that also for bookkeeping, if you have if your guy wants you or your accountant wants you, you said, Lori, to have your things in line with Quicken Books, they can attach that. Jill now has all my books. She actually can see my stuff, my Venmo. She can see my accounts too. And Jill has mentored me to have one credit card and one business account. And so that's just a story that I'm telling you, that's how I came. That's my journey. My journey was, it was kind of like all over here, and then we streamlined it like this. Yeah, that's right, Sharon. Exactly. Yeah, and you don't have to have like a business account. You can just have a basic checking. That's what I had until this last year. Correct, Jill?
Yeah. Yeah. And I just typed that in there too. Yeah. Because, sometimes when you're small, the banks want an EIN, they want an operating agreement, they want this and that. They're not really, some of them don't think outside the box. And if you don't have these documents, they can't do a business account. So you can always just have a second personal account that you just call, this is my business account. That's what it is. And same with a credit card. You can't get a credit card in your business because you're brand new or you don't have enough profits or whatever. A lot of startups don't have credit cards in their business name, but you open one or have one that you say, this is all only going to be business. I'm going to track this one and keep it that way. That's what most businesses have to do in the first few years.
Okay. Okay. Any more questions for Jill? Jill, can you type in the chat, because the chat goes with them, I think, when I record it. Can you type how they can get in touch with you if and where you're? Jill is located in Easton, PA, Allentown, and what's your third location?
Palmerton.
Palmerton. And if they live out of state, are you able to still service them if they're interested?
Absolutely, just not Canada.
And we love you Canadians, but we can. Jill, do you know anything? Do you know when is tax time for Canada? Same as you? No clue? All right. Well, we just learned that Thanksgiving for them was a lot earlier than ours. Our Thanksgiving is now. So obviously you guys know that, but their Thanksgiving was previously. But they do have, here's a little tip about Canada. They had, for Veterans Day, they have poppies. They use poppies. And they were surprised that we don't use poppies. There's I guess, a really beautiful poem that I learned about. So I love learning from our Canadians. It's just been such a nice journey. All right, Jill, you're always a plethora of knowledge. There is one thing I want to share real quick before I let you go, Jill. I'm going to share my screen, and I want to show you guys something. Let's see. So Jill recommended this book. Can you talk to us about this book?
Yes. Yeah. Great. This is great. So I just went through an intense coaching session with this individual, this Amy Vetter. She has the B3 Method Academy. And it really talks about, building your foundation of your business from the ground up. So I've been in business for 11 years and I've just always kind of flown by the seat of my pants. So it was really time to bulldoze this and build it up better. But also finding moments in your life where you can relax and breathe. And, people always talk about work-life balance, but nobody really gets there. So she talks about ways to make space in order for you to have that kind of balance in your life and enjoy what you do and know why you're doing what you're doing. So, and it's crazy because I don't like really wordy books because I'm an accountant. It's straight and to the point, So this book is very straight and to the point. Okay. But there's a lot of information in here, a lot of really good information. So, I highly recommend reading her book. Now, some of it might not apply because you're in sales versus like her coaching classes that she does are mostly for like professional service firms. But I mean, it applies to so many areas of your life. Like I had my assistant read it and she actually told me, you need to have your daughter read this. And I'm like, oh, she's not at that kind of level. She's only 20. And she's like, no, you really need to have her read this as a young person because this is going to help her balance her life as she becomes a wife and a mother. So
that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I thought it was great.
That's what you have in front of you. A lot of, they're all trying to balance either a lot of the girls have full-time careers or they're full-time mamas, which is a full-time career. And I'm excited to read this book. I'm in the middle of one book. Once I get done with that, that's my next one on the list. So Jill, thanks for speaking to that. I'm really excited. I've never read anything from Amy Vetter, but it looks like a really good one. And I do think it will have a lot of benefit to this, to the team.
Yeah, and it's not a huge time commitment, which is, because that's what none of us have. We don't have time,
Yeah, we have to be smarter, wiser with our time, correct?
It's so hard. It is.
Yeah. Awesome. That's good. And no, it is hard, but that's why. So I want you all to know that what excites me with Jill is that working with Jill, I'm going to give you a little story because we know stories sell. And I want to tell you that it's so important to take the time and it's worth it to have an accountant in your back pocket, that you have someone that's mentoring you, find with someone that you're relatable with, because that can take a lot of pressure off of you. So at the end of the year, you're not like, oh my goodness, I don't have this, I don't have that. Have someone that you can speak with that don't fear the IRS, and I had that fear before. I no longer have that burden or stress. And it is a stress, ladies. We know that. We don't want that. You want to come out feeling strong about your business because you all are amazing women. And Jill is pretty empowering. So she can help you out with that, or whoever you speak with. I'm just giving you that idea that it's really important to have that person in your business with you because you guys are open for business.
Yeah. And one word to that is most accountants are very, very dour. And you feel like you're in the principal's office and that you're doing something wrong. And if your accountant's making you feel that way, then maybe look for someone else, because you want someone who's going to educate you and help you, because you can't give them what they want unless you understand what they want. So make sure they're taking the time to talk to you and explain things to you so that it's not just like, well, I'm doing this, but I don't know why. You need to know why. You need a little bit of an education here and there.
Yeah. Jill, thanks so much again for your time. Again, great knowledge that you gave us. And now we have a book that we can add to our repertoire so we can read that as well. And I will be in touch with you tomorrow with my Amazon, I promise.
Okay,
all
sounds
right
good.
Here. All right, good night.
Bye.
Thanks, Amy. Okay, so ladies, we are moving on to ending this month strong with so I just want to see if you all could give me, if I can see, I'm going to close the chat and let's see if I can see this. Hang on. I don't think I can, I don't know how to close it. Anyway, how about a thumbs up or thumbs down? Who is excited about free shipping today? Awesome. All right, there we go. Who's excited to see what they're going to do Thursday night at 6 o'clock? There we go. That's where I am at too. I'm really excited about that. So that Thursday night, usually on Thanksgiving night, they do something. Friday for Cyber Friday, not Cyber, for Black Friday. Then they'll have Shop Small Saturday, and then you'll have Cyber Monday. So you have a lot to get. Yeah, I didn't get emails either today. I had to go in. There was a hot mess today at their home office. So emails were not going. So just check your assets. But free shipping for Canada is pretty exciting. I mean, even for us, don't get me wrong, but I know a lot of you already offer free shipping, and that's okay. This is just something great to talk about, keeping yourself in front of them. But for Canada, because they have FedEx, that's the only way they get it. They were offered it. So that's great for our Canadian sister stylist as well. Yes, that's right, Laura. We cheer them on as well. Okay, can you talk about Thursday? I missed something. So Thursday is just, I had heard through the grapevine And I see, this is not my strong point, is that last year, and I guess the year before, on Thursday, I think it's at nighttime, I was told that they always release something. So I wasn't told this year they were going to, but if they've done it for the last 3 years, I could assume, which could be bad, but that there would be something there. I happen to remember, I thought that they did it at midnight for for Black Friday. I thought they did something late in the night. So you didn't miss anything, Jen. I'm just being what I'm told. I myself on Friday have posts that will go on every hour. Things like, this hour if you shop, you'll get a bottle of nail polish remover. The next hour you shop, you're going to get buy one, get one. Next hour you shop, you get 10 free accent nails. So that's what I'm doing on Cyber Friday. And, so you can set up your own deals that go along. And Black Friday sets, Amy, that's right. They probably will have Black Friday sets. I can't tell you this because Jessica's on here. So Jessica is in like the Macungie area. She comes to our regional. She's a senior executive director. She's on our regional meeting, which I really should just say that it's open for everybody, because our regionals, when we're in person, are open. We always learn so much from each other. But Jess and I were, I lost track though. What were we talking about? Fridays, Black Friday sales, Saturdays. Oh, Jess, I forgot though where I was going with that. Maybe an idea you had. It'll come to me. But anyway, so that's that's what they're doing. Oh, when Jess and I were at home office, we went to this senior executive director meeting, and when we were in the home office in the manufacturing, Jess, did you see it? You can type it if you want. I could have swore there were some pretty new colors. There might be. So Amy, you could be onto something. There might be some colors coming out for Black Friday. Could have swore I saw a really pretty raspberry. That's all I'm going to say. It was so pretty. I just really loved it. Okay, so I'm going to share here. Oh, see, Jessica says she says I did see something. So keep your eyes open for that. But I want to share here my screen one more time. I can't take credit for this, but it just came through, and I just thought it was just genius. And I want to give you guys some food for thought. Okay, so the thought was that if you're going to make brownies and you forget the eggs, how are your brownies going to be? Or if you forget the butter, how will your brownies be? It is the same recipe for success in our businesses. So I really encourage you, even though things might seem a little bit like, I know right now, and we're getting excited though. I mean, it's Monday, but yeah, I love this. I just posted that. Just think the end of the week, we get to eat pie and shop. So it's a good week, right? So our recipe for success, personal development, books like the one that she recommended, Jill recommended. I'm excited to see that one. TED Talks are always really inspiring too. Find the ones that speak to you. Definitely connect the dots. We love that. Tuesday trainings, sharing the opportunity. We know to go through color 10. Don't discredit parties right now or events. I just got today, I got asked to do a vendor event. They're still out there. So still press a bit, wearing it and sharing it, going live, still doing your nail feast. Don't become complacent. Get out there again. Do that. Be excited about it. Attend trainings. You guys have been great about that. And plug into the team, plug into when we have these meetings. If you're here tonight, congratulations. And if you're watching the replay, I'm glad that you did that. So plug into the team and surround yourself with positive people. Like Lori DiBerdinis and I were just together, and so was Kayla was there. There was Jen Ferrara, a whole bunch of us were there. Nancy, and it was around a lot of positivity. And Lori, could you just give one feedback? I know one thing you said that really made me feel good. Let's see if you say it again. One feedback about plugging into the Sparks.
I think that when you show up for events, here is great on Zoom, but it is so much better in live person when there are things that are happening. You get to sit down and you get to talk to people. And it's not just what you can get from other people, but it's what other people get from you too. Sometimes different people have different things to say. And Lori could say something to you and it doesn't affect you, but someone else can say something that's the same thing in different words. And it melts with you and it helps you. And just the way that everyone is together and the way that everyone wants to bring each other up the energy in the room is high. Everyone is, you just get that feeling where you just feel better about everything and you feel like you can do anything when you're coming off a meeting like that. And you can, but you don't, if you're sitting by yourself, you don't get that. So it's so much better to plug in and to stay with everyone, because you might hear something that might just change the way you do your business and make things better.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good point. And I know that a lot of the girls, they say that about conference when we go to conference. Well, it's the same thing. So here, take this down as we wrap up this meeting. And that is that we have December 6th, though it's virtual, it's going to be high energy. And Jess, if you're still on here, you're absolutely welcome. I highly recommend getting your team on here too. We have Kendra Hall is going to be here, and she's going, I really feel blessed about this because this is, she's on a virtual tour. She's giving us 45 minutes of her time. She's a keynote speaker. She just wrote this book, Choose Your Story, Change Your Life. You can pre-order it. And she's going to talk to us about the stories that we tell ourselves in our heads. And we all know that. Everyone on here knows that, you know, our mindset is so important. So I'm really thrilled on December 6th at 7:30. She's going to speak to us, and it'll be a lot of fun. And then on January 9th, I believe it is, we will have our in-person bingo. If you are not local, like within 2 hours and can't make it, I highly recommend that you consider starting your own bingo. Yep, January 9th it's going to be. Starting your own bingo in your area. I mean, honestly, we started small and then we grow it. They know to expect it. I'll see people at Target and they're like, oh, you're the bingo lady, or oh, I saw you at bingo, I remember you. I saw that, I heard that this weekend at the high school. And so they're fun. Like Lori DiBerdina said, it's about coming together, the energy that we have. We do well at sharing the opportunity there, I think, because we're all there confirming it with each other, like, isn't that great? Oh my gosh, you should be with us, we're a great sisterhood. That's also what we're doing virtually, and you nailed it. I really appreciate a lot of you that have been gone on there and have been sharing and showing the community that we have there and tagging your friends in there, getting good feedback about it as we wrap our heads around that social page where it's just showing our community the fun of our nails. So keep doing that. I know that if we've been in for a while, we already have our VIP groups, but think about the new girls coming in. Like I met a girl at Sephora. I was able to send her right there. She got to watch that welcome video and then wanted to know more about the opportunity. So the business opportunity was there as well. So that was really cool. So those are the things that are going to propel us forward. We're going to get some energy going here as we head into this beautiful week with our families and what we're grateful for, sharing and thinking about that time as well. What are we grateful for with Color Street? I think that we would also say at the Sparks tour, and Amy went to the one in California. And, you know, one thing that we could say we all take away is that if you're feeling like stuck or anything, listen to Fa's story, Fa Park, our founder, and you will just think, oh my goodness, I can press through this. When I say that we are on a roller coaster ride, it's not because just the joy of it, because there is great joy in it, riding a roller coaster, but there's bumps and there's twists and everything. So buckle up, because we got great things coming, and change always freaks us out, but change is really good. Fa is concentrating on this 4 years of success. And now we know in that first quarter, we're going to have a compensation plan change, but it's for our good. He has 11 versions he's gone through and is not satisfied yet. So he's not taking it flippantly or lightly. Right. That's great, Sue. That's great. Doing a little bit extra, Sue's saying. I'm doing the same thing, but a little bit more, putting a little bit more of sparkle on it, right? Why not? So pair up with Color Street with the deals that they're having. Get in front of your family, friends, and new people, bringing new people. Start asking again. It was interesting because I started asking people again, oh, have you ever heard about Color Street? And I've been able to put the nails on them and not feel weird about it. COVID gave us that little bit of a wall. And I'll ask them, hey, can I give you a sample? And they're really willing to do that. So does anyone have any questions before I let you go? Do you know what the compensation changes will be? Karen, I don't. Fa doesn't even know. He's, like I said, he's on plan 11, A, B, and C, but he is, they have an idea. I don't know that it'll affect us tremendously at the executive or below. The compensation, because of how fast we grew, kind of, there's a little bit of a, when I say top heavy, I think that's probably not really a great example, but you're going to see it trickle down. That's one thing I do know. I'm just not sure how that's going to look. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Amanda. I think Jill was great. It was a great meeting. Thanks all for being here. So now you've had 2 books to look forward to in this season of, winter. And I really appreciate all of you being here. And our next, oh, and before I let you go, leaders, I'm going to be asking you to nominate 3 people for our next WHAM, because I'll be, this WHAM group will be graduating. No tears, guys, for this WHAM group that graduates the end of December. It's a great bonding, that whole group. I love the second group I love all of y'all, but this is just so fun to see you all connecting. So for the first quarter, there'll be a new WHAM weekly accountability meeting. So leaders, I'll be asking you, if you're a director or above, I'll be asking you to nominate 3 people that you want, that are consistent in bonus qualifying, that are looking to grow and have a drive that you see the spark that they need. All right. Good night, everybody.